Hello, Lord Interesting here, and what I'm going to show you today is crumpets. Now, you've all heard what a crumpet is, right? Whenever you try to do a British accent, it's, oh, cup of tea and crumpets, la-di-da-di-da. This is what a crumpet is. I'm going to show you the recipe. You're going to have these every day for breakfast for the rest of your life. It is life-changing. So, here's the recipe. Now, first of all, we need 2 cups of flour, not self-raising flour, just regular all-purpose flour. Inside there, a teaspoon of salt. Now we want some warm water, not too hot, not too cold. Okay, kind of hot enough that you'd like to take a bath in it. That's what's going to happen to our crumpets. They're going to take a nice long bath in our nice warm water. Now, 400 ml of water inside there. And we'll put about that much in. We're going to start to whisk this. And we're going to make a nice soft, we're going to get all these lumps out. Now, we're going to have to whisk this for around about 30 seconds. If you're doing it with a regular electric mixer, it's going to be a lot quicker. But don't worry if you don't get all the lumps out. Crumpets can be very, very forgiving. So, there we go. Let's get this whisked. Now, the secret with crumpets is the double rising agent. I'm going to talk more about that in a second, because where crumpets come from, some people say it's an Anglo-Saxon recipe. Some people say it comes from Wales, but all in that region. Now, that's starting to get nice and smooth. Now, I want to save a little bit of this water here, because inside that water, I want to make a little paste. I need my teaspoon. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Not bicarbonate of soda. There is a difference between baking powder and bicarbonate of soda. We need 1 teaspoon of sugar in there. This is gonna bring that yeast alive with that warm water in there. And 1 packet of quick rise or instant yeast. So I'm going to pop that in there like that, and we're going to give that a little whisk around just to get everything going, get everything alive in there. And you'll see how these bubbles are starting to form with the baking powder. The yeast is coming, it's waking up, and we're going to put that in our mixture. Make sure we get all of that in there. And give that a whisk now for about another 30 seconds. And what that's going to do, it's going to incorporate that double rising agent in there. We've got the yeast and the baking powder with the sugar for the food, the salt. It's a very basic recipe. You don't need an oven for this. We're doing this out here in the Laguna Mountains at our little Lord Interesting campsite this weekend. So that's nice and whisked up. Now you can actually see how that's just coming straight through the whisk like that, no lumps. That's absolutely perfect. Now, what we have to do now is just cover this over and put that somewhere warm for about 15 minutes. Now, it's not going to double in size. We'll probably get about 15 or 20% rise from the agents. But what it will do is it's going to be really frothy and bubbly as the whole mixture comes alive. So we're going to pick this up. I'm going to put this somewhere warm. Come back in 15 minutes and we're going to get them right on the griddle. Hello and welcome back. Lord Interesting here, and we're making crumpets up in the mountains. Now, it's been around 15 minutes already, and so our batter, we're not going to get a double rise on it, about 10%, 15%, and look at this. This is absolutely amazing. If I take this off here, you can see the bubbles inside there. Can you see that? This mixture is coming alive. Okay, so watch what happens. Now, what we're going to need now are the crumpet rings. Now, these are an actual thing. You can use cookie cutters, but we'll pop these over our fire on our griddle. And very, very important when we're making our crumpets is that we oil the crumpet rings. Okay, so one of the best things to use for that is just some Pam. Okay, so let's get these all oiled up inside there. This is nice and hot. You want it medium to high whenever you're cooking crumpets. Now, we'll take our ladle now and just ladle our batter into the rings. Now, the best part about this is once they actually start to cook, you're going to see these bubbles start to appear right on the very top. And as they start to pop, it's quite mesmerizing. So, as you see this one, the first one is already bubbling up there already, and you'll start to see the bubbles popping away. Now, crumpets have been a staple in England for many, many years. Anglo-Saxon times, originally from, some people say Wales, some people say England. The earliest memory or mention of crumpets is actually from the housekeeping book in the 14th century. So they've been known by many names. Pikelets, picklets from Wales. Originally they didn't have yeast or baking powder back in those days. They were just very hard griddle pancakes, so they were pretty tough. And then along came the introduction of yeast and the Victorian era, and then the addition of baking powder now makes these beautiful, they're thick, they're fluffy, and they're going to have all of these little holes on top as they cook. Now the holes are very, very important, because what they do, they allow the butter to just drop down inside and give you this big, fluffy, spongy, it's kind of like bread, but you've had nothing like it. This is going to be a staple for your breakfast all day long. Now what you're going to see is it starts to dry up. It's going to start to dry around the outside. It's starting to cook around the outside, and it's going to come away from the ring, and then it'll go towards the center. So that is when we take off the ring. Now, some people just like to leave them like that. I like to flip them over, get them brown on both sides. But as you see, this is already happening around here. And look, we're getting these beautiful holes popping up. Can you see this? This is absolutely amazing. Now, for breakfast time with crumpets, and as I said, for crumpet rings, you can go to my website and you can get everything you need to make crumpets. But you can use cookie cutters. Some people I've even seen cut the end off a tuna can. But you don't want fishy crumpets. That would be dreadful. What you want to serve crumpets with is lashings of butter. The butter goes down in these holes and makes it really moist and buttery. Then, of course, you can top with jam, strawberry preserve, honey. I have some really nice local honey from here. And Marmite, savory. You can make them savory or sweet. And that is one of the best things about crumpets. You can have them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They're not just for crumpets and a cup of tea on a morning. But I promise you this, once you've tried making crumpets, it's a simple recipe. It's going to be a staple in your breakfast routine, at least once a week. Now, as you see, this is starting to come away right now. And so I'm going to lift this off. I'm just going to use a little napkin here. As you see, our griddle cakes are coming out perfect. Now, you don't want to burn your bottom. Nobody likes a burnt bottom. So once these start to pop, I want to get a few more of these pops in the middle. Look at these holes like that, because the more holes you have, the more butter seeps down in to your crumpet. Can you get this one? Look at that. Now, when you go to the Lord Interesting website, you can get, as I said, everything you need to make crumpets, including your crumpet rings. Oh, there's the last one off there. Now, turn up right over the fire. And there's something about cooking deep in the forest, up in the mountains. I absolutely love it here. But look at these crumpets, they're absolutely gorgeous. Now, they're almost ready to flip. So 1 more second on here. And I'm gonna start to flip our crumpets. This one's ready, watch. So on the bottom, we're looking for golden brown. Look at that. This is absolutely perfect. Give that one a couple of seconds. And the weird thing is about crumpets, this actually feels rock hard when you first flip them over like this. But give it about 5 minutes after take them off the griddle, they're really soft and spongy. And so they're absolutely perfect. Let's turn over these two. Oh, almost lost one. Let a couple more of those bubbles drop on here. It's quite mesmerizing. You just sit and watch these bubbles come up and just pop away. And they're almost done. So, turn over this one. Oh, now that's perfect. So, these ones here, these are done now. The best thing with crumpets is make them the day before. It'll actually last up to a week in your fridge. Now that is a crumpet. You see all these little holes and the sponginess going all the way through. This is where that butter comes in, and they're really soft and squishy and delicious. So start your day with a crumpet today.